that letter. Factual matters on the dismissal of Dr. Ntoiti, Paul Mwaki, Kenneth Kimathi Mbae, and Joseph Kathure Mberia have arisen in addition to the principal matters of pendency of court cases in them. Factual matters have arisen. To the factual question whether these people have been dismissed from office, the county executive CAC in charge of public service has been here and has adduced evidence that these people, some of them, their contracts ran out by a fluxion of time. That a contract that has ended. Number two, you are told the governor never dismissed these people. Good people, distinguished senators, would it have been easier than for the county assembly to present us with at least a sample dismissal letter of any of these people? The multiple volumes before you contain very many documents except anything in the name of a dismissal letter, even to prove that fact of an allegation of dismissal. You are going to make a decision this evening. I want you in good conscience to reflect on whether you can dismiss a governor for alleged dismissal of an employee without the dismissal letter before you, without an affidavit of that employee before you claiming to have been dismissed, and yet you are told, remove this governor from office. Correct. An allegation has been made that this governor deliberately and knowingly misled the public that 86 million shillings had been raised through pay bill number 247247, account number 04001639178999. First, let me contextualize that video. We had the opportunity to review that video, distinguished senators, and you are aware that other videos have been played to show just the amount of mud that was thrown at the senator, so at the governor, not by the family of the deceased, not by the wife of the deceased, but by persons, whether called activists or other leaders from Meru County. You listen to that clip and you have no doubt in your mind the governor is addressing those leaders who are throwing mud at her. I think that when I finally document the story of this governor, as I hope one day I'll get to do, she's the only leader who has been expected to have mud thrown at her with no corresponding right to respond. Because every time she responds, those very scurrilous attacks, she is brought here for impeachment. All of us had somebody claiming that a body of a deceased person would be placed in the home of the governor and to remain there, and if push comes to be brought to this Senate. How do we expect a fellow citizen not to respond? Human beings have an instinct of anger, have an instinct of shame, have an instinct of pride that is natural, normal human instinct. There's nothing inherently wrong in those human values. It's just the way God made us as human beings. And when the governor responds to those leaders, clearly saying those leaders must then support the deceased wife, build a house for her, buy her a car, start a foundation to support her children. I think, judged in context, that is a governor who is empathetic to this widow and who is calling for her to be assisted rather than being taken advantage of for political ends or possibly for business ends. I would want this particular charge to be understood in that context, distinguished senators. Ground number 3, at paragraph 8, an allegation is made of an alleged use of manual payroll. First, I think sufficient evidence has been laid here that this was an issue in the audit report. The County Assembly is yet to consider that audit report and recommend appropriate action or seek answers from the County Executive. Evidence has been laid to you that this governor inherited a government where manual payrolls were a systemic problem. In fact, she has finished that problem before this impeachment motion was filed. That is something I beseech you to keep at the back of your mind as you make a decision one way or the other on these proceedings. Evidence has been laid before you that the issue of manual register has appeared in audit reports in respect of an excess of more than 40 counties. What lesson do we learn from that? This may be a systemic government problem beyond Meru County, and therefore the proper interventions by legislative and oversight institutions such as this is to provide systemic solutions. What can we do to ensure that IPPD numbers of staff are processed much faster to conduce an environment where payrolls are run without the necessity to resort to manual payrolls as we wait for IPPD numbers? You will empathize with the governor that if her government were to keep kindergarten teachers without salary for 8 months pending processing of IPPD numbers by another government institution, that may as well be an unfair labor practice, which will also violate the Constitution. I have addressed the question of employing a bloated workforce. As a matter of fact, the governor has not employed a bloated workforce. As a matter of fact, this matter has been dealt before in a previous impeachment motion. As a matter of fact, evidence has been laid here of the governor's office rejecting other staff being sent to her office. I beseech you to keep that fact at the back of your mind as you make this decision. Finally, on the allegation of paying Kiambi Crispus Manyara, a public communications officer in the office of governor, full salary while in remand, distinguished senators, I want you in good conscience to make a decision whether governors pay staff. Just in the government organogram, whether a governor pays staff. The appointment letter of this particular staff shows that this is actually a staff of the County Public Service Board. That's the appointing authority, that's the disciplining authority. So that where a staff who is charged in court is supposed to be either suspended or interdicted and relevant communication made to the payroll team, that would be the function of the County Public Service Board, which is an independent board established as such under the County Government Act. To blame the governor for the failure or omission of an independent board, which if the governor sought to interfere with, that may as well be a ground of impeaching her, that will be putting this governor in a grave dilemma. We beseech you not to put this governor or any other governor in such a position of dilemma. The Supreme Court of Kenya, in the case of Sonko versus the County Assembly of Nairobi, set a principle, and I quote, though a political process, impeachment is sanctioned by the Constitution and the law, and it is not a platform to settle political scores. It is well within the rights of the governor to adduce evidence before you to show what political machinations are there so that you can contextualize her allegations that these are processes to settle political scores. Make no mistake, distinguished senators, the governor has set out here. She is a leader like any other leader. She is subject to oversight like any other leader. She is subject to sanction like any other leader. But let it be fair oversight. Let it be fair sanction. Let it not be politically motivated sanction. A side issue has been raised here that this governor is waving a gender card. When the governor was brought here in September last year, she told you, this house, that she was a victim of misogyny. She didn't stop here. She played video clips here for you to see with your own senses, for you to hear with your own senses, for you to feel with your own senses. The decision was yours, and the answer of this house shows that even this senator was abhorred by the misogyny that was displayed in those videos. The governor is not creating a narrative of misogyny. The governor presented evidence of misogyny before this house. A narrative has been created here that this governor has been given 2 opportunities before. An impression being created that this governor was perhaps convicted and pardoned. Truth is, this governor has been acquitted on every other occasion that she has been brought here. And therefore, you can't blame her for whatever decision this Senate made based on the evidence that has been brought before the Senate. The case of Martin Nyaga Wambora before the Court of Appeal of Kenya set out the principle that allegations for removal of a governor must be serious, substantial, and weighty. Let's face it. If we want to look for technical infractions of law, that is easy. We can get a technical infraction of law on any officer in any office, on any citizen, wherever situated. The principle as enunciated by our court is that to remove a governor from office, the allegation must be serious, substantial, and weighty. And it's in this context that I understood the clarification sought. 5 minutes, thank you. The clarification as sought by Honorable Senator Kajwang as to whether labor disputes, employment disputes would form a basis of an impeachment motion. This institution of parliament has employees. I leave it to your own assessment as whether there are any employees that have ever taken this institution to court. What is sure is that there's an entire court called the Employment and Labor Relations Court, whose business is to resolve labor disputes every day. We don't create institutions for fun. That institution was created because there was an understanding that in our day-to-day lives, people are going to have labor disputes. And therefore, to use a labor dispute that is properly before a court of competent jurisdiction to remove a governor from office, that in and of itself does not pass the test of seriousness, substantiality, and weight. The Court of Appeal also established as a principle that a nexus must be drawn between the governor and the alleged gross violations of the Constitution or any law. So that where the County Public Service Board, for example, fails to interdict or suspend an employee who is charged in a court of law, it strains my imagination how anyone within the most fertile imagination on earth can create a nexus between that and the governor. I leave it to the distinguished house here to make a decision on that question. In conclusion, distinguished senators, I have been reflecting on the life and the times of Honorable Kawira Mwangaza. In my other world, Mr. Speaker, I am a teacher, and I talk to my law students every day in a mentorship program, and I was telling them that in the fullness of time, when I am tasked to make my intellectual contributions on gender and the law, my writing will not be on the 2/3 gender principle. My writing will be on the struggle to sustain a woman governor in Meru County. It is difficult for me to imagine of any public official in this country who has been subjected to the trials and tribulations of this governor. This governor who stands here, I look at her and see either my elder sister or my mother. I can't imagine of a lesson in resilience than that is embodied in this woman who sits here before you as governor. I beseech you to have the weight of this submission in your conscience as you grapple with the principal issues, the evidentiary issues, and the factual issues that I have raised this evening. I beseech you to acquit this governor on each of the 3 counts. I rest the governor's final submissions.
Thank you, Counsel. Now, honorable senators, ladies and gentlemen, we will now, pursuant to Rules 27 of the Rules of Procedure as contained in the 3rd schedule of our standing orders, we will proceed to a camera session. And therefore, at this juncture, I'll ask the parties to withdraw from the chamber, the members of the public to withdraw from the chamber, and the media to cease live broadcast forthwith.
Kenyans bubbling with joy and cheer. Tukicheer tuko unstoppable. Na tukipatana, our cheer spreads from within. Across the world for all to see. We are the champions of cheers. Join in as we cheer on Team Kenya and stand a chance to win amazing prizes. Tusker, proud sponsor of Team Kenya. Terms and conditions apply. Excessive alcohol consumption is harmful to your health. Not for sale to persons under the age of 18 years.
The young generation awakens on Y254, the leading youth TV station in Kenya. We treat you to current affairs, entrepreneurship, health, and human interest conversations.
It's art, it's culture.
Movies, gossip and trends, sports,
Drama. We bring you a vibe like no other, straight to your living room.
to keep you informed, inspired, entertained, and most of all, refreshed.
We are such a vibe.
Y254. Imagine.
If you're the kind who takes the time to help a stranger in the rain, there's a place for people like
Proudly Kenyan, in association with Tusker.
Benson Kipruto, so often missed out as far as the Kenyan team is concerned.
Benson Kipruto taking the bronze medal. He was involved in a real battle for that medal. There were 3 of them. 3 into 2 would not go. Benson Kipruto coming through. Kenya have lost the title with Eliud Kipchoge dropping out, we believe, somewhere after the 30-kilometer mark. The 2-time defending champion and former world record holder. But Kenya do at least get somebody on the podium with Benson Kipruto.
Proudly Kenyan, in association with Tusker.
Kenyans bubbling with joy and cheer. Tukicheer tuko unstoppable. Na tukipatana, our cheer spreads from within. Across the world for all to see. We are the champions of cheers. Join in as we cheer on Team Kenya and stand a chance to win amazing prizes. Tusker, proud sponsor of Team Kenya. Terms and conditions apply. Excessive alcohol consumption is harmful to your health. Not for sale to persons under the age of 18 years.
The young generation awakens.
glad that you guys are together and... Well, Alonso is a single man and you're also a free woman, so then... I'm happy for you two. If you'll excuse me.
I have the first set of results of the tests that we did on your father.
And did you find something?
No, not just yet. The results are still incomplete, so we have to do some tests that are more specific.